it shortens here. Between these two, the vowel is gone. This vowel will be gone when you add the U. When you add any suffix, you lose this vowel. Okay, tipatri. Okay, Anissa, next one.
Oh gosh.
Okay, we'll go follow the pattern. Epatach, tipatach, tipatri, yipatach. Follow the pattern. Tipatach, exactly. Anachnu, nipatach. Okay, atem, this is the hard one because we got the suffix here, the u at the end. Close, very close.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna go with that.
Tipatchu, tipatchu, and then hem. Okay, okay, tipatchu, yipatchu. They rhyme, they all rhyme. It's easy. Look, epatach, right? Tipatach, tipatchi, yipatach, tipatach, nipatach, tipatchu, yipatchu. Right? You see the pattern. It's such a clear pattern.
Is that a rule that you make like you change the sound from like a f to a p in this binyan? Like we
This
do
is what I
bet to
wanted.
bet?
This is what I wanted to discuss. Yeah, it's a rule. This is a rule. To learn it as a rule is harder, in my opinion, and more complicated to try to remember. I think maybe you can if you have that kind of mind to learn it as a rule. It's easier to learn it through a lot of examples and you just remember. But yeah, the pay. What happens is, in certain binyanim, when certain letters are in certain positions, they will either have or not have this dagesh. Okay. So, what does the dagesh mean? It maybe means that this letter should be doubled. In Hebrew today, we don't say the double letters; we just say them as regular letters.
What does it mean to double a letter?
Like
f?
yeah, like a double. Yeah. In Arabic, they still have this.
Okay.
Okay. For example, to close like lisgor, we saw so we would say it would be doubled. It's exactly like a PL, like the PL form, right? Whatever. We'll see that later, but. That root letter, the middle root letter has a dagesh, and same thing happens in Arabic, and so they would say, the window msaker, not msaker, msaker. You hear the double k. You have to say it twice, like a long k, like a double k. Okay, we don't do that in Hebrew. We don't say that. We just say it like as one letter. But that's maybe what it was in ancient times, and it's still left over in the form of having this dagesh. So, another thing is, whenever you have one of the letters, in the beginning of the word, it will have a dagesh. Right, I said that before. That's like a quick, easy rule. And whenever it's at the end of the word, it won't have the dagesh. That just always happens. So, and then in the middle, it depends on what form it's in, right? So like, take a look on your page. Look at the difference between the pa'al and the nifal of this root, patah. Okay, when I say pa'al, I will open, I say eftach. Eftach. When I say I will be opened, I say epatach. Right? So it will always have the dagesh.
Okay.
In the future tense, in the nifal, it will always have the dagesh in all these forms. So it will always be a P. But in the pa'al, it does not have the dagesh. Okay? However, you will notice the dagesh in the pa'al, it happens in the tav, which is the second letter.
Which doesn't mean anything to
The
us
tav.
today.
Well, if the second letter happened to be a pei, that would be a P sound in that form, right?
Okay.
So, but again, like, you kind of just pick up on it as you learn the forms. it's a lot to try to memorize these rules of like where the dagesh goes when. It's easier to just,
Shift it up.
yeah, it's easier to, in my opinion, it's easier to just learn the form and memorize the form of a few words and use that as a template for yourself and just know like, okay, that's just how you say it in that form. So, any questions about this? We've done Pa'al and Nifal. We still have a few more.
A few.
We have like 5 more.
6 more.
And I will draw the Yud again in purple. Okay, let's move on to something else. Let's move on to another binyan. We're gonna move on now to binyan, which is called Hitpa'el, okay? Which is a reflexive or reciprocal type of verb.
Yeah, exactly.
Now for this one, I want to go to, let's see, here we're going back to page 1 at the bottom. And this one means to sneak in, sneak out, or sneak away, right? Lehit ganev. So it's the same, it's coming from the same root as to steal. So it's kind of related, right? To steal, to be stolen, to sneak something, to sneak in, to like steal yourself or something, I don't know.
Steal away.
Steal away, yeah. So it's Hit Ganev, okay? So right away, what do we notice? We've got this prefix right here, heat, right? That right there tells you it's Hitpa'el. Now, in the past tense, you add this to everything, right? If you look at the column of past tense for Hitpa'el, you see it all starts with heat. Hit ganavti, hit ganavta, hit ganaft, hit ganev, hit ganva, right? You have all those past tense suffixes, but they all get the same prefix of heat, which is just part of that binyan. What happens in the future tense? In the future tense, the hey is taken away and replaced by these prefixes, right? And then just like we had the yud in the nifal, here we have the tav for all the forms, actually including this one, right? So the tav is the part that's making it hitpa'el. So you got the same prefixes and then tav, right? And the same suffixes. And then, so what comes in the middle? What's the form of the verb in the middle? Just very simple, just ganev. Just like it says hit ganev, et ganev. Tit gan vi. Same again, because of the added vowel at the end, the yud at the end.
Wait, I think that's in the wrong spot. Right?
Yeah,
That's perfect.
sorry. It would be tit ganev, and this one is tit gan vi, you're right. Okay. So I'm literally just writing ganev like 10 times here. Because that's all it is, it's that simple, it's just ganev. You have the tav, again, you got prefix for the future tense, same as all the beginnings. Then you got the tav, which is making it hitpa'el, and then you have ganev everywhere, except where you have a suffix where the second vowel of ganev shortens into a schwa, right? And so it becomes tit ganvi. Then yid ganev, tit ganev, nid ganev, tit ganvu, yid ganvu. Okay?
What's a schwa? This?
The schwa, yeah, the two dots on top of each other, which makes like a sound. It's just like a blank space. It's just like a placeholder vowel that makes no real vowel sound. It can also be no sound at all. It can just be two consonants next to each other. If you're able, sometimes two consonants don't go together, and so you have to make a little sound to make it flow. That's it, but it's really not supposed to be any sound. So Any questions about this? I think it's pretty straightforward at this point, right? Right, so it's very similar to Nifal, but Nifal had the Yud, and this one has a Tav there. Otherwise very similar form. Okay? Now I want to look at another form, because this is where it gets complicated with Hitpael. We're going to look at page 5. Now, there are certain letters that when they come in the first form, in the first place, right, of the root, like where the gimel is in this one. Certain ones like a s or a sh or a z sound, any of those, okay? What happens is that these two letters will switch places.
Just
Okay,
keep it fun.
just for fun. You know this rule?
No.
Oh, that's what happens. Okay, but it happens every time, so you don't have to wonder about it. All you have to use is know that's a rule.
Wait, what? When does it switch?
Well, I'm gonna give you a real example here. So the root we're gonna use is gonna be this one, which means to close, right? Samech, Gimel, Resh, okay? Right, Sagar, to close. The reciprocal form, or like not reciprocal, the reflexive form of this, which is the Hitpael form, means to shut oneself away, to be shut in, right? The reflexive form, right? Should be Hitpael, okay, Hit Sager, but it's not, because whenever you have the first letter of the root is a samech or a shin or a sin or a zayin, any of those letters, what happens is these letters switch places, okay? The tav goes here and the samech goes here, okay?
Why?
Why? I don't know, but that happens in Arabic too. This happens in Arabic too, so.
Well, it's nice
It's a
that we
si-
learn this language. We know like 3 other ones. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
well, I'm just saying
Just get over
that
the first
it's a
hurdle.
Semitic
Yeah.
language thing I can't explain. If it happens in Hebrew and Arabic, that means it goes way back. That goes way back. So,
Ain't nothing we can do about it.
yeah, this is, I
Where are you
don't know
from?
why I did it.
Where am I from?
Yeah.
At Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
But
I didn't ain't fly out of there real naturally.
oh no,
Oh,
I just had
okay.
some fun.
Okay.
Okay, so it becomes histager, which is the past tense, okay? That's the past tense who form, and you see it right there on your chart on page 5 in the middle, on the left side, right in the middle, histager, okay? They switched, okay? But once you know that rule, and you know that they switch, and you get yourself to this point, where you're like, okay, I know it's Hitpael, I know it's Sagar, I know it's not Hit Sager, it's Histager. It's the same after that. It's the same. All you do is you replace the hey with these, and you add these at the end, and so you get Estager, Tistager, Tistagri, Istager, Tistager, Nistager, etc. So the only difference here is you switch these two. Okay. Now here's another thing though. There's another level to this. When it's a samech or a shin or a sin, they switch places. When it's a zayin, the tav changes to a dalet.
Come on.
And
You're making
that
it hard.
happens, and that happens because you can't pronounce the tav after the zayin. It's hard to say zit. So it's zit,
Sorry.
right? So an example of that would be like, to להזדרז, to hurry up. So means like to hurry up. All right, לזרז, we're gonna look at this one. To hurry someone, this is PL form, right? I don't even know which writing system to use here. לזרז, okay, is PL. This is just the infinitive. And then the hitpael would be lehisdares. Lehisdares. Okay. Here in the present tense would be mezerez. He's hurrying someone up. Mizdarez. He's hurrying himself up. But that's the form, because you see the root is here. Zayin, Resh, Zayin. Okay? But this one is a Dalet because it was supposed to be a Tav, but because of the Zayin was changed to a Dalet after already switching places with the Zayin. Okay? So, but that happens every time that the first letter is a Zayin and it's in a Hitpael form. Every single time it's going to happen like that. So it's not like a one-time thing or an exception to the rule. That's just how it is every single time. Any questions about Hitpael?
There is
I
one.
told you that this lesson was going to make your head explode. I said that to someone in the group today. Okay. We're almost out of time, so we're going to very quickly look at Hefil. And Hefil is pretty straightforward. Let's go back to our basic one, Gana, right? And the Hefil is going to be, I think, on page 2. Yeah. So we're looking now at Hefil. And so this one's going to be, here the root is going to be Ged Ganav. And the way I've always thought of this one is, so it's Hefil, so in the past tense will be Higniv, right? That's just the form of it, Higniv, in the past. So you just take that same form, and just like you have the Gniv here, so you just replace the Hey with these prefixes, like you do for all the other ones, right? But this is the real form of it, is the Gniv, right? So it would be Agniv. Okay. Where are we at here? So, yeah, we're looking at page 2.
This one over here?
Page 2 means to smuggle or insert stealthily, right? This is again the root. Ganav means to steal. In the Pahal means to steal. To cause. So think of it as being causative, right? So it's in like another version of that meaning, but causative. So smuggle. Agniv, ani agniv, ata, ta agniv. You guys want to try to fill these in? At ta agnivi. What?
Oh no, I just was wrong.
Oh. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't lose a vowel. Sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
Okay.
This is complicated.
Yeah. Who? Yagniv. He. Tagniv. Anachnu. Nagniv. Atem.
What she said.
Tagnivu. And hem. Yagniv.
So in this one, this binyan, they all use like an ah sound at the beginning.
Yes. This one has the ah sound in the beginning for all of them. All of them have ah sound. That's right. That's right. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, I think. The ones we did not look at were the passive voice. Oh, we didn't look at PL. Let's look at PL. Is there, there's no PL form for this one.
There's Gina on page 2.
Huh?
Gina on page 2 of the PL.
Yeah, I know. I wanna look at, we can look at, here's one. Set, Lesader. Okay,
What page?
this is page 6. Now we're gonna do PL. PL. Okay, so, and this means, this is gonna be Samech Daled Resh. Okay? Like the word Beseder, in order, right? So this root means, has to do with order. So to make something, to arrange, to settle, to make something in order, right? That's what that means. And it is, it's gonna be in the past tense, it's gonna be sider, like PL, sider. Okay? But in the future tense, it is, the form is like esader, esader, tesader, tesadri, yesader. Right? You notice it's just sader over and over again. There's nothing else here. There's no, we had, what's the difference between this one and Nifal that we saw? Right? Do they have this a new file for this one? I don't think so. But the difference is the Nifal had the Yud here. This one doesn't have a Yud. So this, the vowel here is not going to be E. It's going to be E. It's going to be Tesader. Tesadri. Right? Yesader. Tesader.
Looks like a schwa, no?
It is a schwa.
But you still say it
Yeah, you say because that's called a schwa na. It's a moving schwa. It's a
What?
S. It's like an S sound.
What?
Yeah. Basically, it's when you have the two, when you have the nekudot and you have the two dots on top of each other. That's a schwa. There are two types of schwa. There's a resting schwa and there's a moving schwa.
Wait. The
This
schwa is
one.
the two dots on top of each
Yeah,
other,
like
right?
this?
Yeah.
Okay. This is called the schwa sound. This is called a schwa. It can make absolutely no sound at all, or it can make an S sound.
Okay.
Right? The difference between the one that's like the resting schwa, which means no sound, or the moving schwa, which is the, right? Yeah, it's an S sound.
And how do you
So
know?
sometimes you know it just from the form that it's in. So in this case, for PL, you use that schwa here, which is always gonna make the S sound. And in the present tense, it's a me. It's gonna be mesader. Again with the schwa, but you always pronounce it as e.
Do you
Yes,
pronounce
it
it as an e as long as it's in the beginning of the word, or that's not the rule? It's
That's not the rule. The rule is
Okay.
that it's part of the binyan. It's part of the vowel of the binyan. That's just how it's pronounced in this binyan. It's always pronounced as e here. So you have a mesader in the present tense, and you just take that and you change that with these prefixes, and you have esader, tesader, yesader, tesader, right? Tesadri, nesader. Okay.
I know we don't want to talk about vowels too much, but how do
No,
you
we can
know?
talk about that.
How do you know? Like A, how come they don't just use like a 3 dot vowel to signify that it's the S sound? And how do you actually know when to make the S sound, besides for just the binyan?
Yeah, like I said, you know how to make the sound because this is in the binyan. This is part of the way the binyan is pronounced. Think of it as being built into the binyan. Just like the other one, we saw Nifa had a yud here in the second place, except for this, except for the aleph, right? So everywhere you had an E sound, right? Now here you have an S sound. It's built into it.
All right.
And there is no yud here because you don't need a yud. It's not an E sound, it's an S sound, right? So that's how you know. And why is it not a different one? The segol. Why is it not this one?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a different vowel. That's different than this one, right? It's not. I didn't make it. I didn't make this.
No,
language
I
up.
know. I'm just wondering, like, there
It's-
must be a reason why they're using that to make the same sound as the, right? Like, so I'm just trying to understand the
Yeah.
different uses.